So just to look at introduction, this is Mike Larson, and would you like to talk about your background and experiences that you'd like to share?
Sure. I've been very lucky to have kind of two careers that went on simultaneously. I was a comedy writer, a television comedy writer and comedian for many years. Still do that to some degree, but I worked on a whole bunch of great shows, including the Drew Carey Show and Ellen and Two Guys and a Girl and Real Time with Bill Maher. But then simultaneously with that, I've worked in politics. I started writing speeches for progressive politicians when I was in college. And then I followed that up by working on a bunch of campaigns and did a couple of stints in Washington. The most recent was 2008 to 2012 was a communications director for Congresswoman Jackie Spear, who represents Northern California. And then I moved to Ohio, which is where my wife's from. I took advantage of an early retirement from the Writers Guild that let me take it at 52, which was awesome. So we took it and moved out here, continue to write. Before COVID, I was going back and forth to LA all the time for meetings. Obviously haven't been doing that. Although I am just back from a epic road trip to San Francisco where my dad lives. I drove out there last month. In fact, the last time we talked was from my dad's house, the house I grew up in. So I drove out, kind of fixed up my dad's house and hung out with him for a few weeks. He's 88 and getting to the point where, you say, let's make sure I get to see my dad one more time. Hopefully he'll still be here after we all get vaccinated and we can go see him again. But I wanted to make sure of it.
Yeah. So yeah, you lived an awesome. I know a lot of people that or would be impressed, very impressed with your resume, your life experiences, and I quite enjoyed our last talk. Yeah, that was a really fun good talk, and it was my first interview ever.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, I took a lot of chances. Nothing I did was ever, the odds were never in my favor. I mean, to be a television writer, God, there's 100 million people want those jobs, and there's maybe 100 jobs, and it's super
yeah,
competitive. But I went into everything with the knowledge that I would probably fail, and that's cool.
yeah. Smart.
So, yeah. But
Yeah. My first
there's a lot of
question.
people who
What's
would
that?
prefer there's a lot of people who would prefer to just have a steady job that lasts for 40 years, and that's great, and they probably end up better off in the long run. But that's just not for me. I'm always looking for my next adventure.
Yeah, that's really amazing and interesting and wonderful. That's yeah. I hope one day I could be as interesting as you.
Yeah, well, you fall. My greatest story. This kind of like my mantra is the idea of this woman wrote an essay where she talked about constant forward motion. She said,
Yeah.
"You're gonna fall, so fall forward." And she told the story of there's this 100-mile race across Death Valley that they do in like August,
Oh
and
my
it's
goodness.
120 degrees. She, I think, had just gotten a divorce or something. She wanted to try something. She knew nothing about the race. She just signed up, and you have a van there with you to give you water and stuff. And so she just kept moving. She kept moving, and at the end, she had no idea where she was in the pack. Turns out, not only did she win, but she shattered the record, because the way you run that race is you run at night and then you sleep during the day and then you run at night. And so Most people, it takes like 4 days, and she did it in like 20 hours.
Wow.
But the idea was, she said, I just kept moving. I kept moving, even if and that was, she said, if you're gonna fall forward. And I just kind of love that idea that you take baby steps.
Very, very profound. Very profound story, an idea and concept. Yeah, for sure. My first question for you, well, the only question, because if I'm not mistaken, you want to just talk about one question at a time per interview, right?
Yeah, however you want, but I think that way we can keep on topic, but
okay,
see where it goes.
What are your opinions, thoughts, and experiences with a general strike, or general strikes in general?
Oh wow, a general strike. Well, it's certainly. There are countries that have had general strikes. They tend to be smaller countries and have a much higher percentage of union workers. Places like France, I'm thinking of. Portugal, I think, had one. The problem with the United States is, we just have a trouble all doing something, even if it's something easy, like wear a mask, let's kill the stupid virus, right? I mean, that is like low hanging fruit, and look, 30% of the people think, that's, we're trying to control their brain by asking them to just not infect their neighbor. Now, somebody recently is calling for a general strike. Do you know who is it? There was something recently. I remember just reading about it.
I want to say AOC, but I don't know, to be honest.
Right. Yeah, I know. Well, I think to some degree, the closest we came to a general strike is probably the 99% protests in New York.
Oh, Occupy?
The Occupy the Occupy movement.
Yeah, Occupy Wall Street, yeah.
Right. And that was, very limited, but it was people walking out on, companies that were heavily influenced by Wall Street. And it was a powerful movement. I think it led to why the progressive movement is as strong as it is now. I think that was one of the things that kind of led to, whether it's the success of AOC or Elizabeth Warren or Bernie, whatever, even pushing more centrist Democrats like Joe Biden and Buttigieg. All these guys talk about reforming Wall Street now, and that wasn't really thing. Of course, it came out of the banking collapse. But that was a clip. But even then, that was a pretty small number of people. I think you could do something like that locally, maybe, if there was something that, I have a really good friend who grew up in Flint, Michigan. She's now in New York. She's a librarian. But, with the Flint water crisis, when the government did that, the water in Flint was fine. They wanted to save money, so they switched over from the system they were on to this other system with using these old lead-lined pipes, and the water became undrinkable. It still is. They still have to use bottled water. That's the kind of thing I could see a general strike for a city to say, hell no, we're not going out. We are, nationally, I think that the protests after George Floyd and the fact that it became more national, that it wasn't just when Michael Brown was shot, the marches were primarily in Ferguson. There were others around the country. But with George Floyd, because it was so egregious and we all watched it happen, they were instantaneous and everywhere. There was a march. I mean, I live in Union County, this Republican agricultural county in Ohio, and there was a march, immediately. And that kind of felt something akin to a general strike, but it's not.
Yeah.
Strike means you shut down the economy.
Yeah. I don't, I'm thinking, I hope I'm wrong,
Yeah.
but I, not that we've gotten so stupid and so lazy, being on top of the world for the past, at least, since World War II, if not earlier. It will take like, for every able person, every sane person, and every person that has any morals to see a big, large asteroid in the sky. Like, I mean, something that if you're able to see, if you're all mentally there, and if you're not concerned about making the most money possible at every single second, if you see this asteroid coming, and then everyone unanimously agrees, hey, if we don't, either get off this planet or
Yeah.
somehow get this asteroid out of our direction, we're all gonna die. That might. I hope I'm wrong, but I think that might be
Well,
the only way to.
well, here's a hypothetical. What if Trump was successful at stealing the election when we all know he
Oh
lost?
yeah, everyone would be pissed,
You
or
know,
at least most people would
I
be
think
pissed.
that could lead to at least a general strike for 55% of the population, maybe at least.
Yeah.
I could see then people saying, "Oh hell no," but of course you have to take COVID out of it because right now we kind of are on a general strike.
Yeah.
No one's working anyway. So,
Yeah.
but I could see something like that, something so egregious, that could lead to that. But I said, in 2000, when with Bush versus Gore, when the Supreme Court said no, you're not allowed to count ballots anymore, which was completely arbitrary. It wasn't based on anything. It was simply there's more Republicans than Democrats on this court, so too bad. At that moment, I remember having a conversation with friends and saying, why are we not getting guns and going into the streets? Any other self-respect, and I mean me personally, why am I such a wuss that I'm not defending my democracy the way people have defended their democracies in other countries? But we didn't. And part of it was Al Gore, saying it is what it is, let's move on, because he's a decent human being and didn't want to see people dying, and but that's in my life, that is the biggest moment where I thought, man, we should probably be fighting,
or at least like, so some way to like, I always thought like, as long as you don't actually like, hurt someone, I guess like, I guess, under the idea that you can't go to prison for looking at someone wrong. You can't go to prison for, I mean, as long as you keep, obviously, you don't, I don't know. I'm kind of thinking out loud right now, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, but then again, like in the next month or so, a lot of people are going to lose their unemployment. That might be the breaking point. I don't know, but
yeah, well, but at that point though, it would be a strike against the new administration, which isn't the cause for these problems, so it'd be kind of weird. The idea that you said about have always been a pacifist. Not a pacifist might be too much, but I'm a nonviolent person. I've never been someone who wants to start a fight with someone. But there are times, I mean, I'm glad that my grandfather's generation kicked Hitler's ass.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, that's the time there where you're like, yeah, I hate the thought of, hundreds of thousands of people killing each other. Um,
Yeah,
Especially when
it's
my family's Italian. I have relatives that were on both sides in World War II. You know, so I think sometimes progressives uh, hurt our cause by talking and making too large of a statement of what is right and wrong.
yeah, like yeah, I know what you mean.
Because there comes a time, obviously, if someone came into my house and tried to hurt my daughter, I would do everything I could to kill them.
Yeah, yeah, because
you know,
that crossover into self defense.
right? But you can even, in a right. I mean, maybe you could say, well, in a war sense, it's not though. I mean, the United States was not in direct danger of Hitler.
True, but Germany did declare war on us, I believe.
Yeah, well, and certainly we're, if you looked at it and said, boy, if he is able to conquer all of Europe, then
Yeah,
eventually he's going to cross the ocean and come get us.
yeah,
So, yeah. But I mean, there are times when, and then there's things like the Sudan, where these
yeah.
people were just being brutalized. And no, I didn't want to send soldiers over there, but we're the richest country in the world. We can't just let, women and children be just wholesale raped every day, and have, so yeah.
Yeah, I guess like the only issue with that is, and this is like now I am, I'm embarrassed for her recent transphobic comments and legislation, but there's one big reason why one of the biggest reasons why I was such a Tulsi Gabbard supporter. Now I do know a lot of people in politics are like, oh no, 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 not her, please, anyone but her. But there's one thing that I was impressed by her politics is that if you go overseas, and same with Ron Paul, same with Mike Gravel, same with Dennis Kucinich. I know some people have some strong opinions about him too. But
let's stick to Tulsi first. Let's discuss Tulsi, and then
okay, all right. It's like
but
it's
because
like,
I am someone who, from the get-go, thought Tulsi Gabbard was a fraud, and because I knew her past. But
yeah,
no, I think Tulsi Gabbard cherry picked certain progressive things that she claimed to be the standard bearer for, of non-intervention, this kind of libertarian progressivism. But this bill, she didn't just say trans comments. She introduced a bill to discriminate against trans people.
I know. Yeah,
and
it was crazy.
And remember, her father was like the anti-gay preacher in Hawaii that she defended up until like 4 years ago. It
was about 2011 is I think I read that they both eventually apologized, and
yeah,
but
they
both eventually
comes back. I can say it's not just a comment; it's the fact that so she's leaving Congress, and she's decided her last legislative act in Congress is to advance this completely transphobic bill that has no chance of even getting to a committee, right? So clearly she's doing it because she sees that as her ticket forward.
Yeah.
Is she going to come back as like a Sarah Palin Republican? What?
I know. Yeah. I did like her, just like leave everyone else alone because it may cause more problems than it may resolve. But when it came to the transphobic stuff, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I voted for her. Like, it was, I was embarrassed. I'm not going to lie. I was embarrassed. In the past, I would
done that. Yeah. I certainly supported people that afterwards I was like, ew, what was I thinking? But no, so she's, obviously the thing she had going for her, She's beautiful. She's certainly not unintelligent. She's a smart person. She's a very good speaker. She's very articulate. Um, but I don't think she has. I think she is probably closer to Trump than anyone. In that, I don't think she has a moral center. Like, these are the things I believe in. You know, Trump could have just as
Opportunist.
easily been a progressive tyrant as he was a conservative tyrant.
Yeah,
You
it's
know, he's all
yeah.
about the game. He wasn't about ideology. You know,
Very yeah, what's that term? Opportunist? Like
right, an opportunist. Yeah,
yeah.
he's the it's all about him. And I think she was a similar thing where she picked and chose these these issues that made her seem very progressive.
Hmm.
So I had known a little bit about Tulsi before. Um, my first real understanding of who she was came from my old boss, Jackie Spear, who in a call one day, she was on a committee, I guess, or on something with Tulsi. And she was talking about how when she first met her, she thought, oh, wow, great. There's this dynamic young Democrat. We need that, and said that within, a couple of meetings said, oh my God, this is a demagogue. She is not, she has none of the, I love AOC. And she is the real deal. I mean, I I probably don't agree with everything she says. I haven't looked at everything
Yeah.
she says, but she believes it. It lives in her heart, her progressivism.
Hmm.
Um, and there are even people on the right that I respect because they believe it. You
Yeah.
know, um, you know. So you said you wanted to
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
finish.
But yeah, I mean, like now, I don't. I just want to clarify for anyone watching this. I don't hate Tulsi right now. I am embarrassed, about her transphobic stuff. That's unacceptable, absolutely unacceptable. That may lead to even some suicides. I don't know, but that's horrible. I just want to point out because I got a lot of Tulsi supporters and even I'm even friends with her mom and dad on Facebook and Dennis Kucinich and I want to just point out I don't I'm not trying to like bash her. I'm not trying to like I'm not trying to bash anybody really, to be honest.
Right.
Because my main things is like getting more sensible and sane direct democracy, getting more like ranked choice voting, kind of like similar in the UK. Get more like sensible term limits, sensible general elections for everybody, and government
Well,
funded elections.
yeah,
Basically, I want a better system.
yeah,
Because
absolutely. I do want to talk about ranked choice voting. So that was
okay, yeah, go right ahead.
but before we get there, the Gabbard bill, because people might not know, the Gabbard bill it takes a legitimate issue, but then her response to it is just wrong. But it basically says that athletes must compete as the gender they were born with, right? So
Yeah.
a male or that becomes a female who's a transgender cannot compete as a woman. And there's certainly scientific fact that if you were born as a male, you're probably going to have different muscle development, and maybe that is an advantage in sports. But that's not why someone changes their sex. It's
Yeah,
kind of
yeah, that's
suggesting that,
crazy.
hey, I have an idea. I'm going to be on the LPGA. All I got to do is change my sexual and that's the leap that she takes. And I
Yeah,
know
it's very
yeah.
yeah.
Which
It's
is, I have a really, really good friend in DC who's trans, and you would not know it. if you just met him.
Mhm.
But when the bathroom bill came out in North Carolina, it said that you have
Yeah.
to use the bathroom of your sex. So he made. I'm sorry, he goes again. I said he. I always have trouble with the he, she, they thing.
Yeah.
I wish there was an adjective. Uh,
Gender neutral.
yes, we should
Yeah.
invent a new word. But anyway, uh, Ian made a point of going into uh, the women's bathroom in an airport in North Carolina and got arrested, and that was the whole point, you know. Uh, and they're, oh wow, there's a man in the women's restroom, they're going nuts. And it's like, yeah, I don't want to be here.
It's
I
almost
arrest me
like
in what I belong in. But yeah,
these
it's like
like
you take a problem and then the solution has nothing to do with it.
yeah, it's like my own personal theory is that anyone that's phobic that hates, that's prejudice, it's really a reflection of themselves. They
Oh yeah.
it's always a reflection of themselves.
But it's also the idea again that somebody had their sex changed. That's
Yeah, exactly.
that's a lot of stuff you got to do
And
so
yeah,
that they can go into a women's restroom and rape a girl. I mean, that's what they're saying. They're saying that's why, because they're not going to feel safe there. And it's like, but that has nothing to do with it. That is
yeah,
not
it's
why anyone would go through the expense and the trouble and the oh my god, the psychological
mhm.
battle of going through that. I have a number of trans friends, and the journey, most of them, if by the time they reach 40 they have their equilibrium, they're lucky.
Yeah,
It's
menopause or
a
something, or
huge journey for that to happen.
yeah.
Yeah.
I know yeah, it's just bizarre. Yeah, it's just I mean, like, I don't know. But anyways, you want to talk about ranked choice voting, right?
Yeah, well, you'd mentioned that before, and I think it's so for people that don't know what that is, that means that you vote. It's different in each thing, but the normal way is in a multi-candidate race, like say like the Democratic presidential primary.
Hmm.
You wouldn't just show up and vote for Bernie or vote for Elizabeth Warren. You would get 3 votes. And sometimes they give you as many candidates, you get to rank all of them, and you rank them. So I was an Elizabeth Warren supporter. I would go in and I would have given my first vote to Elizabeth Warren, but then my second choice maybe would have been Kamala Harris, and my third choice maybe would have been Bernie. You know,
Yeah.
um, I don't know that that's the order, but the way that works then is that when you count the votes, they count all of the first place votes. The person with the fewest votes is thrown out, and that person's the people who voted for that person, their second and third votes get added to whoever they are.
Yeah.
So um, the great thing about it, it is it tends to be bad for incumbents. That's the best thing about it,
Hmm.
because for instance, I ran. I didn't survive the primary, but I ran against Jim Jordan this year. And let's say I was the Democrat, and Jim Jordan obviously was a Republican, and then there was also this Libertarian. Um, well, in a case of anyone running against Jim Jordan, none of those voters who were voting against Jim Jordan would make him their second choice, right?
Yeah.
There's a reason you're running against Jim Jordan, right? So with ranked choice voting, you encourage more people to run.
Yeah.
Independents, Green Party, whatever they are,
Yeah.
get in the race. And your voters can say, okay, I'm going to vote for the Green guy as my first choice, but I'll make the Democrat as my second, or the Libertarian as my second.
Hmm.
So that's, I mean, I am not a fan of term limits just because I've seen how they don't seem to work. Um, uh, Unless we could also give term limits for lobbyists, but
Oh yeah, that's perfect.
I had made a comment before. It's like in California, the lobbyists are there for 40 years. The assembly people are there for 6 years.
Yeah.
So it's like the elected official is the freshman cheerleader, and the lobbyists are the high school quarterback. He doesn't stand a chance. Um, so, but I think something like ranked voting might be a way to get to a point where incumbents don't have such a safe ride all the time.
Yeah.
No, and if it encourages, we talked about this before. It's ridiculous that there are two choices in American politics.
Yeah. It doesn't
You're a
make any
Democrat or
sense.
Republican. What? There's nothing in life where we only get two choices. No, um,
Yeah.
and so that's one thing it would encourage, is that maybe you would have 7 or 8 choices. Of all these different, someone on the left and someone on the right and people in the middle, and whatever. And it is a much. I hope we do more experiments with it. In fact, I'm signed on to a petition for the Democratic Party in 4 years, or whenever we have a full open primary, to do that in the primaries.
That'd be amazing. That'd be so amazing. Yeah. I mean, because all that, I gotta tell you, there are times where I was like, all right, now it's no secret. I already posted about this. I've been diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia. So I need medication. I need therapy. I need a caseworker. I get this is what I call them. I know I probably shouldn't joke about it because it's such a, it's not a joking thing, but I call my my antipsychotics, I call them my reality pills.
Right.
And those get injected.
By the way, you're
month.
allowed to joke about it. It's you. It's
That's
your
true.
thing. It's not
you
talking about someone else. I have panic disorder. Always have. I've been on medication for it, and I own it. And I'm glad you're talking about it. I wish people need to talk about these things more, because it's not a big deal. I mean, it is a big deal. You know what I mean? It's not the end of the world.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just it happens. Yeah. But anyways, during the primary, I was like questioning. I was like, do I need more medication? Because this shit is crazy. Just crazy. All the battles and and all the debates and all the requirements to get into all the debates, all the candidates. It was like almost 30 candidates all together. It just, and then top it all off, it got ended by COVID.
Right. Well, the great thing about having so many candidates was, one, we had multiple African Americans. We had Andrew Yang, who was just my favorite person in the field. I think I want to hang out with Andrew. I want to have dinner with Andrew Yang and Pete Buttigieg. I didn't vote for either of them. But talk about just
originality,
smart, funny, decent people. Buttigieg had the greatest line about Mike Pence, homophobia, where he said, if Mike Pence has a problem with me being gay, then he has a problem with God.
Yes,
it was such a great line.
That is a great line.
So simple.
I'm not gonna lie. Like, I was on the Mike Gravel, then Tulsi Gabbard, Bernie Sanders, Marianne Williamson. I was on their side, but at the same time, though, I ended up voting for Biden. I even volunteered for Biden.
Right. At no point in the primary was I, rooting or helping Joe Biden. But the great thing about this is that, even though I would have preferred, say Elizabeth Warren was my first choice, partly because I worked with her when I was on the Hill.
Nice.
I got to know her and know that she is.
She was
so smart and so God, so funny. People don't realize how quick she is.
Yeah.
She is just so quick. But I am thrilled that Joe Biden is going to be our president. Whatever you want to say about him, you can't ignore the fact that he is a decent person. He's a good person who really cares about people and even though he spent his life in politics, politics isn't what drives him. He's not looking for that next, deal that he's going to cut. It's about what do people need. And I think part of it, you talked about, your diagnosis, he's had this stutter that has defined his life, and he still has it. He still messes up all the time, because his
Very
brain's
human.
working faster than his mouth is. But that's just so great. I mean, how many people in this world have been, teased because they don't speak in sound bites, you know? And I love that the guy who has the single biggest public speaking job in the world, is a guy with a speech impediment. Awesome.
There's part of my favorite moment of all the debates was when he told Trump to shut up. That was perfect.
Just shut up, man.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that was cool. It was cool. And my last question, this has been a great talk. This has been good. I mean, the last one was good too, but this one's been really good too. My last question is, what is your thoughts about taxpayer funded elections only?
Oh, I think they would be great. I just don't see them happening in America because, there'd be so many things we would have to do first, like get rid of the Electoral College and make senators be voted on by population, not by, all the things that will never happen because they have to go. Unfortunately, the incumbents get to decide those things. But yeah, I would love to see some sort of public funding of elections, or at the very least, serious, controls on fundraising.
Yeah.
Obviously, Citizens United, the dark money is a big thing. But I gotta say that Obama changed everything. Right now, I've been. I told you I just drove across the country and I was listening to Obama's memoir that he wrote. Really been great. But until Obama, it was typical for Democrats to complain about money in politics, and, we can't compete because pre-internet, or even in the early days of internet, the money came from wealthy people writing big checks, and then Obama's campaign kind of invented the small dollar donation thing, where it's like, we can get one guy to give us $1 million, or we can get 1 million people to give us $10, and then that's just been improved by Bernie. The fact that Bernie Sanders is raising money hand over fist is crazy.
Yeah,
he's a socialist. But there's so many people who want to give to Bernie.
Yeah,
they should. He's a.
Yeah.
So I would hate to completely take out the opportunity for people to support the candidate of their choice. But so the way federal funding of elections works, and the way so it used to be, when you do your taxes, it says, do you want to give $1 to the presidential campaign fund, and you check the box and $1 goes to that. So it used to be then that, and it still is, no one does it, that you can take this money that was set aside for the major party candidates if you agree to a spending cap that you will only spend, and I don't know what it is now.
Yeah.
But since Obama, nobody accepts that now because they can raise more money.
Yeah, Obama, and originally before Obama, it was Howard Dean. If you remember.
Oh, I loved Howard Dean. I worked on his campaign. I loved Howard Dean.
Yeah. I mean, of course, internet speed drastically, improved from 2004 to 2008.
Right.
I mean, leaps and bounds.
Yeah, Obama built on the Howard Dean campaigns, and it's funny, these two groups that stayed alive then. There's this group, Democracy for America, DFA, which grew out, which was Dean for America. And the same thing, Obama for America became Organizing for America. So, once these realized that, hey, we have a good thing going here. Yes, I wish there was less money in politics. I mean, in my case, I was outraised, and I realized that I just hated calling people for money, and I would love if candidates didn't have to do that. I mean, I would even support something saying that candidates cannot ask for money. Party infrastructure can, their campaign can do video ads, or whatever, video asks. But the problem is, especially at the congressional and state house level, the definition of a good candidate is someone who can raise a lot of money or has a lot of money. And that's the other thing, if you're running for office, and you say for Congress, I can only give you $2,800, okay? But if I'm running for office and I were a billionaire, I could give myself $1 billion.
Like Bloomberg.
If you are rich, you should be kept to the same contribution limits. You shouldn't be allowed to self-fund. You know? So right now, that's what, I'm on these committees where we are looking for candidates for, and it just pisses me off that when people say, hey, we have a great candidate. Oh, really? What does he believe in? Oh, no, he's rich. Like, oh, no. I thought he was really smart and he was a good speaker.
I know what you mean. There's this that's a good point. I got a show later tonight that I'm gonna do through Zoom. You are invited.
All right, I have my Union County Democrats meeting is tonight at 6:30. But when are you doing it?
From 8 to 9:30.
All right, well send me the link. I'll see if I can jump on.
Very nice, very nice. Yeah, I mean anyone's welcome to come. Of course, if someone's acting rude or obnoxious or inappropriate, I'll just mute them or kick them out of the Zoom room or something. Be like an online bouncer.
But that's the whole point of democracy. In fact, I'm going to have this discussion at the County Democrats thing. On our Facebook page, people keep sending me notes saying, hey, you have to kick this person off because they're trolling us or whatever. And, my attitude is ignore them unless they're threatening someone or being really offensive. Democracy's messy. We can't get our feelings hurt so easily. We obviously.
Very true. I mean, if someone's just being awkward, or if they're just being awkward, or they're just being, that's okay because they probably can't help it. So,
well, with my Twitter following, I would say most of the people who follow me share my views and like that I'm funny, but there are a few who do it just to troll me, and I don't care. I ignore them, or sometimes it just cracks me up. If someone actually says something mean, but it's creative and it's funny, whatever. But it's just Twitter. It's like you don't have to respond.
That's
someone says something racist or
or threatening,
to die. But we have to, especially on our side, especially progressives. We have got to develop a thicker skin. We're supposed to be the side that believes in free speech and freedom of the press and freedom of expression and of being unpopular. And voicing an unpopular opinion. And the way I look at it is, I think my side is right, so I have no problem with someone saying their side as long as I get to give my piece. But anyway, this was great, Matt. I'm happy to do it anytime. Let me know.
Oh, for sure. And one last thing I want to ask is, I'm totally fine either way because like I said, I'm not trying to bash anybody. I'm not trying to do you want me to edit out that Tulsi Gabbard stuff that we had in there? No, you're okay. Okay.
No,
because I don't know. It's just I don't want to. Well, it's. I mean, I do know it's good not to edit things, but it's like, I'm friends with a lot of toasty people, and
It's your
it's
show. You do what you want. But honestly, even the fact that you and I can respectfully disagree on something is cool,
yeah,
right? I mean, that's what this is all about. It's not
that's
like,
true.
oh, oh, you have a different opinion to me, you must be an asshole. No, that's not what it is. Yeah,
Okay.
I don't.
Are you cool with that? All right, all right,
Oh,
all right. Thank you.
absolutely. Yeah, if I've been on camera enough to know that anything I say is going to be used. And if for some reason there was something, a couple times I've done something where I say something that I realize later wasn't true, where I might say, "Hey,
Yeah, we're all
that
human. We
was."
all
Can
make
you?
mistakes.
But even then, if not, it's like, well, then can we put a thing at the end that says, I whatever acknowledge that I said that wrong or whatever. But no,
Yeah. It's just I mean, the main thing is the what you told me that your former boss, Congresswoman Jackie Spears, said, which I do know actually. Well, but actually, this is a good thing because Tulsi Gabbard just left Congress today.
what do
So
you mean?
she, so hopefully this won't cause some kind of feud between Tulsi and Spear, and then all of a sudden, oh
No.
shit, we're in the middle of it.
Oh God, no, 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 no. For
All right,
one thing,
cool.
and I am biased, but as far as where they're standing in the political world, Jackie is stratospheric. He was a 3-term
Yeah.
backbencher from Hawaii who's going, yeah. I think Tulsi will probably make a bunch of money for herself writing a book or something. She
Oh
seems
yeah, yeah.
pretty media savvy. I just don't. I just I'm curious to see why she chose this issue to be her last thing in Congress. It's interesting, and I wouldn't be surprised if she didn't come back reincarnated as a
Donald
kind of
Trump.
Christian conservative or something. It
Yeah.
just seems like it appeals to a very different audience that she seemed to be trying to appeal to in the past. But who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, it's just really unpredictable. Just I would say one thing that politics can be very unpredictable. Like, because at one time, Reagan was a FDR New Deal Democrat,
Yes, yes, a long, long time ago. He was also the president of the Screen Actors Guild.
which is a
Uh,
union, which he ended up busting.
but he became that because the studios
He
helped
wasn't a
him
good
get it.
actor.
He was colluding with the studios the whole time, so not the best union president, but
Yeah.
no, yeah, absolutely. People change. I don't have the same beliefs now as I did, growing up. I mean, yeah, we changed. That's
Yeah.
good.
For sure. All right. Yeah, it was a great talk. I'm gonna
Yeah,
post this on Facebook and maybe YouTube.
yeah. Just
Is
send me
that
the
all
link.
right?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's fine. Okay, cool, cool. Thank you for coming on. Good
See you,
time.
man.
And
Yep.
I'll send you that link later tonight.
Okay, cool. See you.
See ya.